Hello, everybody. It's Connie Stewart with SimplySimpleStamping.com, and I'm back with another video in my designer series paper masterclass. I've been sharing some fun ideas with you throughout the month of August 2021, and this video is no exception. And this one's even better because we're going to use up scraps. Oh my goodness, are you one that has a lot of scraps? Well, check out the cards I have lined up for you today. I always seem to have an abundance of just these strips of designer series paper. So I've got a few great cards for you featuring that. But hey, if you have some bigger pieces, we're going to use some punches and dies and just some fun ways that we can decorate cards in a very unique way. Are you ready to learn more? Okay, well, let's get busy creating, my friends. As we work with 12 by 12 designer series paper, inevitably we end up with lots of these little scraps. So I'm going to show you how you're going to turn these around and we're going to create some pieces of art. You know what? I think I'm going to start with this one here. This is from the Europeach designer series paper, and we're going to do something fun. So these are 1 inch by 12. Well, actually, you can see this one's even a little bit shorter. Doesn't matter how long they are because you're going to have a way to use them. I'm going to go ahead and cut mine down into 1/2 inch strips. Just gives me a little bit different size to work with, but I can't stress this enough. It doesn't matter. You know what? This tip and this idea is going to work with any size little scraps that you have. I have a piece of some basic white cardstock that is 4 1/4 by 5 inches. And that's what we're going to start with for our card. So I'm going to flip these over because I'm going to use this polka dot and this stripe side. So let's flip these over. And it doesn't matter where you start. You can start just about anywhere, but I'm going to go ahead and start up here in the corner. You're going to use your favorite adhesive. It doesn't matter which one you use, whether you are a Stamp and Seal person or you are a Tombow multi-glue person. So you can see I've just added this right up here in the corner. I'm now going to come along with my paper snips and I'm just going to snip away this excess. All right, so there is our first strip. So let me set this one aside. Now I can come in with the stripe. And by the way, I want you to see when I adhere this, I am coming off of the cardstock because if I went to here, well, I've got a little problem. I'm not all the way off. So you're going to want to make sure you fill all the way in. Now I'm going to leave a little white space in between mine. You can make them touch if you want, or you can just do like me. And I'm kind of eyeballing about how much adhesive to use. If you add too much, don't worry, because we're going to keep reusing this piece. See how I'm coming off the edge right there? We're going to take that, line it up, adhere it down. You know the drill. We're going to come along and we're going to trim this away. And if you're wondering like, oh, but you didn't get all the way to the corners, for what I'm going to do on this card, it's not going to matter. We're going to be just fine. Now we're going to alternate. So now I'm going to come in with this piece and I want you to see how that angle goes. But you know what? If we turn it around this way, look at that. It lines up perfectly. So kind of pay attention to the direction of your scrap pieces here because we don't have any waste when we do it this way. So I can line that one up, adhere that down. Guys, you know the drill. I'm going to just keep alternating these and trimming them down as I go. Now, don't worry if you're not trimming perfectly straight. For this card, we're going to do something a little bit different. So you can see we're going to add our next strip here. All right, I have come to the end of the polka dot piece and I have just a little bit more of the stripe. I might be able to use it down here. So now it's going to be time to come in with a brand new piece. So I'm going to just keep adhering these down. Ah, see there? I knew that last little piece would fit somewhere. Yep, it's going to fit right here. All right, it's all done, guys. That is all the scrap that I have left now. Isn't that great? We really are conserving our designer series paper. Now, I could leave this just like this and create a card, but I wanted to do something a little bit different once I had all these pieces on here. So I'm going to bring in the scallop contour dies. I love these. And look at this pretty little scallop one. I thought it just was perfect. So I'm going to take this and I'm going to run this through my die cutting machine. And this is what the final project looks like. So isn't that great? It die cut a gorgeous little scallop for me. And then I added a sentiment right here, and that is from Sunny Sentiments. I love that. Thank you for all the little things you do. Added a little glimmer bow there on the side because I thought it just, again, it went so well with my polka dots. I did that on Calypso Coral cardstock. Simple, simple. And we used up those scraps. We didn't waste a thing. Now, let me show you another card that's similar to this, but I did something a little bit different. So this card, of course, looking at it, you think I just did the stripes at the bottom because that's how much designer series paper I had. And I did, but look at this. I did take it one step further. Yeah, I did a little cut right here. I'm going to show you how I did this because it really is a fun way to create a designer series paper scrap card. So here were my scraps. Now these two were already 1/2 inch. So I'm going to go ahead and take this one here. And this is also from Europeach. And I'm going to go ahead and cut this one in half so I have 1/2 inch strips to work with. So this card is a little bit different. I have a 4 1/4 by 11 inch scored at 5 1/2 inch basic white thick card base. I'm actually just going to add a little adhesive right here at the bottom just to get me started. And I'm going to go right to that corner. Okay, let me go ahead and trim this down. You've seen me do it. Now for my next piece of designer series paper, I'm going to butt it up right up against that polka dot. And you know what, for this card, I'm just going to add my adhesive right there to the card. Because guess what? If it's a little bit over, it's okay. I'm putting these strips right next to each other. So it's fine if there's a little extra adhesive there. Snip, snip, and we're just going to keep going. Now, how far you go with these little strips, that is entirely up to you. How far do you want to go? What kind of sentiment are you going to add to the card? And remember that trick where I took my piece that was just cut, line it up, press that down. Again, we're just conserving as much as we can. I want to make sure I have enough to get through my whole card. Let's add another. All right, I've got 5 strips on. I'm going to stop there, and now I'm going to do my cutting. And I'm simply going to come in with my paper trimmer. And can you see how the designer series paper lines up right there in the track? Just get that set right along your designer series paper and cut. So basically what we've done is we've cut off this piece. Now we're going to adhere that piece to the inside of our card. And there we go. Do you see what we're going to do now? Let's add one last piece of that striped paper. And it's going to go right along where we cut. So that part is going to come off of our card. Do you love it? So easy, right? I'm telling you. And of course, we snip off our last pieces and we have this fun fold. Let me show you what the final card looks like. So this one you can see there's that fabulous designer series paper, and I used the Flowers of Friendship stamp set. So I had a great sentiment here. Life is better with friends like you. Now it does have this flower in it, which is really sweet. And there's a punch that matches it. But you know what? I decided I really wanted to kind of go clean and simple here. So I left the flower and just punched it from some balmy blue cardstock. By the way, this little scallop is also from that Scallop Contours dies. It's the second from the smallest. So yeah, look at that. Super sweet. And I love that when you lift it and on the inside, we get to keep that gorgeous designer series paper style going there. How about one more? And this one is a lot like what you've seen me do. So this one I did with the glimmer paper. I just love the rainbow glimmer paper because look at that. It's got so much shimmer and shine to it. By the way, this glitter does not rub off at all. And my happy birthday, I did that. That's from Biggest Wish. I thought that was just really fun. Did that in Gorgeous Grape and Daffodil Delight. And then do you notice this happy birthday in between? Well, I use the happy birthday from Art Gallery, but pick your favorite sentiment, whatever you want. But I would lay down a piece of the glimmer paper, and I'd stamp my happy birthday. I'd lay down another, stamp happy birthday. And you notice they went off the cardstock. Now, I need to tell you, this piece here actually started out as a quarter sheet, so 4¼ by 5½. I did all my stamping, I did all my glimmer paper, all that good stuff, and then I went and I trimmed down the whole piece to 4 by 5¼ Now you may be going, why? Well, I just found with edges and getting my happy birthdays right, I felt like I got a cleaner edge. So for this one, I did start with a larger piece and just simply trimmed it down. Don't forget, you can order any of the supplies I used on my cards. Just head over to simplysimplestamping.com or look down in the YouTube description. There'll be a direct link to today's post, and you can see photos, get measurements, and order anything you might need right there. Now, what about when you have some wider scraps? This was a scrap from the Pansy Petals that was 1¾ by 12. And I thought, what am I going to do with that scrap? Yep, I could have cut it down, right? But I went and brought in my circle dies, and I took one of the small circle dies. I cut it out as many times as I could. By the way, notice this one, it's a half because that's all I could get. You know what? I knew I could still use it. So let me show you what we're going to do with this card. So this started out as a piece of Highland Heather that was 5½ by 8½ scored at 4¼ Now I came along and cut off 1¼ inches of that. And I've got a piece of basic white here on the inside that is 3¾ by 5. All right. So just kind of a simple little card. Now, what I've got here is another piece of the basic white, and this is 2½ inches by 5 inches. And you can see I'm just going to adhere that there. By the way, this sentiment also came from Sunny Sentiment, so I've got a nice little birthday going on here. Now, let's show some fun ways we're going to use all of these circles that I was able to die cut. So you notice this particular pattern, I have this really pretty yellow on one side, then I have my pansies on the other. So I'm going to pick my favorites of the pansies because, that's where all my color is, and this is all the same. So I really like that one to go with my Highland Heather. Of course, I love that one. And I think I'll go with this one right here. I like that. So these that are left over, let's flip them over. These are the ones that we're going to use the yellow side. By the way, there's that little half one that I said, you know what, we'll find a way to use it. Okay, so I'm going to open up my card, or actually I'm going to close my card, forgive me, and I'm just going to lay these out. I want to kind of lay out my pattern first. So I'm going to kind of spread those 3 circles out so that I kind of have them all lined up. And I'm using the edge of my card base here as a guide. They're hanging off, don't worry, we're going to cut those. Then I can come along and I'm going to add my pansies right on top. Now you may be going, now what are you going to do, Connie? Well, I'm going to take this one and I'm going to cut it in half, just like so, because now these can go here on the ends. So I hope you guys can kind of see what I'm doing. See that great look? Now we're going to take these, I'm going to go ahead and adhere all these down. And now I'm simply going to trim away all of this stuff that's hanging off the sides. It's a great way to add a lot of designer series paper, but we just use some scraps, and the circles give it some, some nice dimension. Now let's come back in with my sentiment. You notice those last 2 pieces I had left over. I just added them right there to my card. We're going to adhere this with some Stampin' Dimensionals. And that is going to kind of just step up our card just a notch. Let's add a simple little bow knot. So I've got some of this Highland Heather ribbon. I'll press that onto a mini glue dot. We're going to add that right here. next to our sentiment. And look at that. Hope your birthday is filled with all the best things. I got plenty of room here to write my message. And I don't really have to worry about running off because I used the edge of my card as a guide to line up my circles. I've got one more card, and this one's a Christmas card. And I did the exact same thing, only this one I used punches. This is the Taylor Tag Punch, and then this designer series paper is actually one that you can get for free with a $50 purchase. It's the Peaceful Prince. Now, this is from Celebration, and this is going to go through the end of September, so September 30th, 2021. But listen, if you have other Christmas designer series paper, hey, go for it. I thought my sentiment was so much fun, and that is from the Well Defined stamp set with, oh, I'm sorry, used Holiday, A Reason to Eat More. I mean, can any sentiment say it even better, any better than that? I say no. So there we go. There's a fun one. I just punched my Taylor tag punches out. This one, by the way, is cut in half, and those two together make one. So yeah, I just had to have looks like 5 of my Taylor tag punches, and I just added those, and you see how I spaced them out. Yet another great way to use up some designer series paper scraps. Let's bring in all of our cards. And there you go, my friends. No matter what kind of occasion you have, you're going to be able to find some scraps that are going to work perfect for your cards. Thank you guys so much for joining me. I hope that you enjoyed the cards today, and maybe you're going to look at your scraps in a little bit different way. They're not going to go into file 13. You're actually going to use them. If you enjoyed the video today, I would love a thumbs up on YouTube. Thank you so much. And if you haven't subscribed, click the great big red subscribe button. YouTube will let you know whenever I'm back with a new video. Guys, thank you for being here. I look forward to stamping with you soon. Bye-bye.